provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis, based on the most relevant posts on LinkedIn about future mobility and market evolution in CW 2324. Frennis is a B2B market research company working with enterprises to optimize their campaigns with count and executive insights far beyond AI. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into the most talked about future mobility trends from the past couple of weeks, calendar weeks 23 and 24, as seen across LinkedIn. It's been a period buzzing with innovation. Experts, city planners, groundbreaking companies really reshaping how we move.
Absolutely. And what really stands out, I think, is that this isn't just about the flashy new tech or the latest vehicle model. We've seen some fascinating insights on how real-world product launches, city pilots, new partnerships, they're all converging around this crucial idea, which is that the future of mobility hinges just as much on behavioral change and genuine ecosystem collaboration, not just the raw technology itself.
That's a really powerful point, behavior change. So if we're talking about that, let's unpack our first big theme, shared mobility and mobility as a service, or MaaS. The whole idea of owning a car is being fundamentally challenged, isn't it? It really is. Say Ojwal put this very well, noting that urban transport shift from, individual car ownership towards shared, sustainable, tech-driven services. It's truly about moving from a culture of ownership to one of access, where the car becomes a service you just tap into, kind of like Spotify for your commute. And it's already happening. You've got autonomous taxis logging over 200,000 rides a week in U.S. cities, and MaaS platforms are starting to seamlessly integrate all sorts of transport modes into one single tap.
Right, and we're seeing that access model make real-world sense for individuals, too. Jura Smigd observed employees enthusiastically embracing the flexibility of combining, say, leased bikes and cars within their mobility budget. It's not about sacrifice, it's about smart, flexible choices. He highlighted how this can offer savings up to, 40% compared to buying a bike outright? Yeah, 40%. And that's not counting the perks like no fuel costs or parking stress.
Exactly. That's a significant incentive for change.
Definitely. And then extending that to the corporate world, Nicholas Verstraete shared insights on Huba. They're a Brussels-based startup helping companies decarbonize employee commutes with tailored shared mobility options. And they're reporting impressive 40% CO2 reductions. That shows a clear path to corporate sustainability.
Okay, but there's a catch, right?
Well, Miji Trong pointed out a crucial distinction. B2B mobility is a completely different beast from B2C. Businesses need complex things like integrated approval workflows and cost allocations. It's not just about frictionless personal rides. It requires a whole different layer of solutions.
That distinction is vital. Good point. Now, on the policy front, Anna Mescal reported something interesting. Apparently, the EU is making surprising progress towards a unified regulatory framework for ride-hailing.
Aiming for harmonized rules across member states.
Exactly, which would be a huge step for standardizing services across the continent.
Yeah, definitely. And if we connect this to the broader urban planning picture, Kostas Moratidis shared strategies for reducing car use. He emphasized promoting shared mobility alongside, robust public transport investment and compact city policies.
Makes sense.
And Norbert Jageman took this even further, strongly advocating for prioritizing car sharing. He noted that a single car-sharing vehicle can replace up to 11 private cars.
11. Wow.
Which not only saves CO2, but also frees up incredibly valuable urban space.
That's a striking impact. And we're seeing this vision translate into real-world expansion. Pitwriter updated us on FLEX car sharing growing to 80 stations across Luxembourg.
So it's becoming a natural complement to public transport.
Exactly. Weaving itself into the daily fabric of urban life, offering more flexible choices.
Yet, it's not all smooth sailing for shared mobility ventures. Adam Wiltshire offered a pretty sharp view on Uber's NYC shuttle venture, suggesting it's less about genuine public service and more a rebranding of the bus that prioritizes profit over equitable access.
Potentially overlooking lessons from past urban transport initiatives.
That's the argument. And as Paul Bennett highlighted, referencing Simon Mason, too much flexibility without a clear structure can paradoxically lead to decision fatigue for users. Instead of empowerment, you just get overwhelmed. It's a fine line to walk.
That's an insightful counterpoint.
Okay,
speaking of city streets and new ways to move, let's zoom in on a smaller, yet incredibly impactful segment. Micromobility and small EVs. We're definitely seeing their growing presence in our urban landscapes, aren't we?
Indeed. These lighter, more agile vehicles are making a significant mark. It's fascinating to see how they're evolving.
Matteo Servidati's observations from Milan really underline this. He mentioned vehicles like the Fiat Topolino, signaling a substantial shift towards more sustainable urban transport. And the potential is just huge. McKinsey estimates the micromobility market could soar to, what, $340 billion by 2030?
340 billion. Yeah, that's massive projected growth. But, what's fascinating here is the path to success for companies in this space. Ali Kazimkhani highlighted some common pitfalls for micromobility startups. Things like treating niche products as mass market solutions or over-engineering without enough planning for manufacturing and logistics.
Right. So what works then?
Well, he suggested that success often emerges from established commodity product brands or from nimble companies creating innovative, cheap toys in smaller batches. Guillermo Campoamor echoed this, calling it micromobility's midlife crossroads, a time for reinvention and, crucially, careful navigation of regulation.
It sounds like a really pivotal moment for the industry then, balancing ambition with practical execution. But there are definitely positive real-world examples. Antonio Rolando Pastor announced that Bird just launched in Oviedo, Spain.
Oh, yeah. How many vehicles?
Deploying 200 electric scooters and 100 electric bikes, offering a clean, agile alternative for over 500,000 people. That's significant.
Okay, but this expansion naturally raises an important question. How are cities actually managing these growing fleets on their streets? Benoit Baroud's research explores various parking and charging solutions, dedicated docks, free-floating models, different e-bike charging options.
And Sabina Ribbing updated on DOT, partnering with Standab for modular micromobility parking and charging systems.
Yeah.
So the industry is moving through its integrated infrastructure solutions.
It is, but it's not perfect. Even Henjum Fredrickson observed how poorly parked micromobility solutions, like some Bolt scooters he saw, are creating real nuisances. And accessibility issues for wheelchair users, visually impaired people, pedestrians, cyclists.
That's a critical point.
Yeah, he stressed they should replace cars, not bikes or walking space. It's a key challenge for urban integration.
Definitely something for urban planners to tackle. But in contrast, Fredrik Helm reported a different story from Oslo. Apparently, opening all districts for shared e-scooters led to a boom. 40,000 new users, millions of rides.
Wow. Okay, so it can work at city scale.
Exactly. As tree infrastructure, not just a novelty. And Alexander M's Project Mover expansion of e-bike share in Westchester River towns also highlights increased last-mile access to public transport stations.
Okay, and what about equity? Making sure everyone benefits.
Oh, Ann Brown's research on shared micromobility equity policies found mixed results. Discounted rides do increase trips, but enrollment can be low.
So community engagement is crucial.
Precisely. It's not just about providing the service, but ensuring people can actually use it and benefit from it.
And shifting gears slightly, Tom Nutley highlighted the challenges of single-car ownership in rural areas. Shared mobility options there are often severely lacking. It really emphasizes where innovation is most needed, beyond just the dense urban centers.
That's a great point and a good segue to a global perspective. Samir Sherfin described how electric three-wheelers like the Fiat TIS are transforming last-mile transport in Africa.
Providing sustainable and affordable solutions in regions with traditionally low car ownership rates.
Exactly. And this aligns with Kingus Thatchura's work on the need for robust fleet connectivity solutions to manage thousands of these devices effectively.
Right. Okay, let's transition to our third theme, autonomous and connected vehicles. This future seems to be arriving incredibly quickly, doesn't it? With significant real-world applications finally emerging.
It truly does. Christian Willick reported on Baidu's Apollo Go robotaxi service preparing to launch in Switzerland, in collaboration with PostAuto, no less.
Wow, okay. That's a major step for advanced autonomous driving entering European public transport. But it raises a key question. How will these integrate into the intricate existing public transport systems?
That's the million-dollar question. And direct user experience is going to be vital for public acceptance. Ramon Wartala, for instance, described his fully autonomous ride with Waymo in San Francisco.
What did he think?
Said it felt incredibly safe, which really speaks volumes about consumer confidence and the maturity of the tech.
Yeah. That's key. And looking more broadly, Hashim Al-Fatayirja gave insights into emerging autonomous startups reshaping U.S. mobility and logistics. Everything from long-haul trucks, think Aurora, Kodiak, Wabi, to last-mile delivery robots like Neuro, Serve Robotics, Starship.
So what's the common thread there?
Their focus seems to be on narrow, real-world use cases and practical execution, like Gatik removing safety drivers on fixed middle-mile routes, getting it done.
And the economic potential here is just staggering. Steve Greenfield highlighted a Goldman Sachs forecast China's robotaxi market alone could explode to $47 billion by 2035.
$47 billion, partly driven by an expected retirement wave of traditional taxi drivers. That's a huge economic and societal shift brewing.
Absolutely. And connecting this to other regions, Lucas Neckerman's perspective on the UK's investment in autonomous tech. He projects tens of thousands of jobs and a boost to GDP.
With a strong emphasis, crucially, on prioritizing road safety and maintaining Europe's high standards, that's paramount for public trust and adoption.
Definitely. And cities are actively preparing. Rainer Becker pointed out that MOIA already offers self-driven vehicles to reduce congestion in some places. And Felix Wick announced the world premiere of the MIA self-service platform.
The MIA platform, what does that do?
It's a tool allowing cities to simulate the impact of autonomous services across 15 regions globally before deployment.
Ah, okay. So data-driven planning, smart.
Very smart. And, there's another fascinating aspect of connected vehicles beyond just self-driving. Yuval Shani expressed excitement about advancements in voice assistants, specifically Google's Gemini AI integrating into Android Auto.
Right, allowing for more natural, context-aware conversations.
Exactly. Reducing cognitive load on drivers, enhancing the user experience, especially for fleet operators. It's about a smoother, more intelligent interaction with your vehicle.
Makes sense. Okay, moving on to our fourth theme, EV and charging infrastructure. This really feels like the absolute foundation for sustainable mobility, doesn't it?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Without robust infrastructure, widespread EV adoption just remains a distant goal no matter how good the cars get.
Yeah. And Gabe Klein, in an interview highlighted by Joshua Turner, emphasized that city electrification needs integrated curb management, meaning chargers, data, dynamic pricing, it all needs to be planned together, not just, stuck wherever there's space.
Right. And here's where a systemic hurdle becomes really clear. Michael Mueller did a sort of self-test on car policies and found that many companies still base decisions on gross list prices, not the total cost of ownership.
Oof. That significantly hinders EV adoption, doesn't it? Despite lower running costs and tax advantages.
Exactly. It's a major disconnect in decision-making.
But there are definitely exciting advancements pushing us forward. Palanki Ematasri shared an update on Utrecht. They've become Europe's first fully operational vehicle-to-grid, or V2G, car-sharing city.
A collaboration with Renault and others, right?
Yeah. Their 500 EVs, like the Renault-fied E-Tech, can actually feed renewable energy back into the grid, providing up to 10% of the required grid flexibility in the region. That's a potential game changer for energy management.
Totally. And thinking even further ahead, Tommy Nerbick gave an overview of ATB's projects, which includes exploring things like electric roads and plugless power on the go.
Wow. The future of charging could be truly seamless. No need to even stop. Incredible innovation.
Isn't it? Okay, let's delve into smart infrastructure and parking now, focusing on how digital solutions are transforming urban spaces. And it's fascinating how much parking, often kind of overlooked, is being revolutionized.
You're right, it's a massive area for impact. Ugay Asguni discussed MITI's unified platform for smart parking, aiming to standardize data and streamline operations.
And Cliver Saseki highlighted NOAA technologies using real-time IoT data to reduce emissions and optimize parking space use, making an inefficient process much smarter.
Definitely. And a major development in the UK, shared by Dan Hubert, is the launch of the National Parking Platform.
The NPP.
Yeah, along with a focus on incredibly detailed digital curbside maps. They're calling them DTROs. The aim is to simplify parking, reduce all that mileage from circling for spots, and ultimately cut emissions for millions of drivers.
So digitizing the entire parking ecosystem.
Pretty much. And if we connect this to the bigger picture of urban design, Faris Katan emphasized that the future of urban mobility really starts with smarter infrastructure, seamlessly integrating digital tools and sustainable design right from the ground up.
Okay, and here's an idea that really makes you think. Sean Say introduced this concept of parked vehicle compute.
Parked vehicle compute, what's that?
He suggests that all these idle EVs and connected cars could become a massive, overlooked AI infrastructure, running AI models right there in your driveway.
Whoa. So your car earns its keep while you sleep, contributing to a vast distributed network.
That's the idea. Mind-bending, right? Opens up so many possibilities.
Definitely. But to manage these valuable assets effectively, Valerio Spada made a critical point. Unaddressed vehicle damage and shared mobility. It's a business killer.
Right. So how do you fix that?
He emphasized how real-time AI and crash detection tools are changing the game by dramatically improving accountability, knowing what happened, when, and who was responsible.
Crucial. And to wrap up this theme, Santosh Kumar Boda's GeoAI. It's a system using real-time geospatial data to predict and actually prevent traffic congestion.
Turning raw data into smooth urban flow.
Exactly. With potential benefits for everything from public transport scheduling to emergency services response times, making cities genuinely more efficient.
Fantastic. Okay, let's transition now to policy, planning, and market signals. Looking at the broader strategic currents in mobility guiding all these innovations.
Sounds good. Roland Floquet-Villebieu's analysis of mobility tech in 2025 sees it as a convergence of capital, innovation, and execution. He notes a deeper market realignment where durable value is being built.
And investor expectations have shifted towards more practical, grounded solutions. It's maturing, basically.
Exactly, which raises an important question about how countries are prioritizing their investments. Russell King offered a really surprising policy example from Norway.
Norway, the EV leader, what are they doing?
Well, despite leading in EVs, their 2025-2036 National Transport Plan focuses not on flashy new projects, but on asset management.
Asset management.
Yeah, weather resilience, nature protection, maximizing existing infrastructure. It fundamentally challenges conventional transport investment thinking.
Wow, that is a fascinating reprioritization. Very different.
Isn't it? And turning to European policy, Françoise Gaspard reported from the EU expert group on urban mobility, stressing that urban mobility, public transport, and shared mobility are essential pillars for sustainable cities.
Requiring substantial support for strategic planning, infrastructure, and inclusive governance. It's a comprehensive approach.
Yeah. And a clear market signal from Germany was highlighted by Wolfram Ehrlich's carpool race. It shows dynamic growth in the German carpooling market,
demonstrating significant latent potential for shared intercity travel, even in rural areas like the Ilm district.
Exactly. Shows that not all innovation needs brand new tech. Sometimes it's about better utilizing what we have.
True. And from a technological policy perspective, Richard Lax argued that 5G might not actually be the best choice for vehicle-to-everything, or V2X communication in the EU. Really, why not?
He suggests there are more cost and spectrum-efficient homegrown alternatives, maybe better tailored to the long life cycles of cars and roads.
Interesting. Finding the right tech for the specific job, not just the newest buzzword.
Precisely. Okay, finally, let's explore aerial and cable mobility. This truly adds new dimensions to how we might move in the future. Feeling a bit sci-fi now.
Well, what's fascinating here is the sheer innovation we're seeing. Ethan Lang highlighted XPeng AeroHT's groundbreaking dual-mode electric SUV. This thing carries a fully integrated eVTOL drone on its back.
A flying car, basically.
Kinda, aiming for road-to-air versatility for premium customers. First delivery is expected in 2025-2026, taking personal mobility literally to the skies.
Wow. Okay, and shifting back to public transport, Dmitro Petsy reported on Lviv's planned urban cable car project.
Ah, an aerial route.
Yeah, to connect the historic city center, provide barrier-free access, and offer a sustainable, zero-congestion alternative to car travel. They're learning from European examples like Koblenz.
Very clever way to solve urban connectivity challenges without adding to road traffic.
Definitely. And to close out this theme, Tamusin Kip's visit to Glidways revealed their innovative automated transit network.
Automated transit network. What's the concept?
It uses autonomous electric vehicles on dedicated lanes, promises a sustainable, efficient, scalable urban transport solution.
Sort of combining the privacy of ride-hailing with the efficiency of mass transit?
That's the idea. A glimpse into personalized mass transit, perhaps.
Fascinating stuff.
Right. Well, that brings us to the end of another deep dive into the evolving world of mobility. If you enjoyed this deep dive, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on electrification and battery technology, next-gen vehicle intelligence, and commercial fleet insights.
Yeah, it's really clear that the future of mobility is dynamic. It's constantly being reshaped by innovation, policy, and crucially, human behavior. We hope this is giving you some intriguing insights to consider.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the latest in next-gen vehicles and mobility. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. So as we consider all these rapid shifts, from employees combining bike and car leases to predictive AI for traffic, even flying SUVs, what's one aspect of traditional urban life that you think will be most profoundly transformed by these new mobility paradigms?